What's up, everybody? It's your favorite host, Slammin' Sam. I hope you are in that seat and buckled in real tight. We're gonna go for another ride and smash that loud pedal here on In the Groove. What's up, everybody? Episode number 8, and the person that I have on today really knows how to use his words correctly. Like, he can make you feel like you are at a race that you've never attended. He can make you feel like you are standing next to that crew chief while they're talking, and he can put you in the car to take that pass down the road. The person that I'm talking about is Nate, the editor-in-chief of the Drag Illustrated magazine. Nate, are you online with us today?
I'm here, Sam. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Nate, like I said, you are a person that can make you feel like you are standing right next to you when you're having that interview. A person that can use his words, like I said, to paint a picture. So, Nate, just kind of tell us about yourself. Tell us about your experience with Drag Illustrated, and just kind of give everybody that doesn't know, paint that picture for everyone who doesn't know who you are.
Sure. So, I'm the editor-in-chief at Drag Illustrated. So I work with our founder, Wes Buck, our design and production director, Mike Carpenter, and our senior editor, Josh Hatchett, and the rest of the team to put together an issue of Drag Illustrated once a month. And then that also spills over into dragillustrated.com, and then our digital edition, and then the various different Drag Illustrated events that we'll put on throughout the year. And basically, that's what we work on. I've been with Drag Illustrated since 2014. I started as a freelance contributor, wrote a couple stories in 2014, and then 2015 joined on as the web editor, and things just kind of grew from there.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I know the other day you had a post on Facebook that was talking about kind of your storyline, of how you started in the racing community and what you wanted to do. And for me, a guy like myself, it was kind of cool to see, hey, he started from a same position, that I'm in, looking from the outside in, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Um, drag racing is very much a family sport. The best way to get into it is to be born into it. And, I had no family involvement. I was just from a young age, and just, really, really felt like drag racing is what I wanted to do. I didn't know where I would fit in there, but I wanted to find a way to make a living in drag racing. So when I was 14, I started helping a top alcohol dragster team. Brandon Boer was the driver, and he got me started writing the team press releases. Uh, Found a couple other teams to start writing for, and that's how I eventually got my writing in front of Wes Buck at Drag Illustrated.
And having someone like Wes, there to coach you along the way and guide you and kind of, and Wes being a mentor that he is, how do you think that has helped you become the writer that you are today?
Oh, it's been huge. Uh, Ever since I first really started talking with Wes, I distinctly remember standing in the pits in Gainesville with Wes several years ago, and he said, "Nate, someday I want you to be running the magazine. I want you to be the editor, and this is where we start, and we're going to go down this path, and these are the steps we're going to take." And that's how it's gone. I've continued to get more opportunities to kind of take the next step, and with his help and the help of Mike Carpenter, who is also basically with Drag Illustrated since the beginning, they've kind of showed me the ropes and helped me understand how the magazine goes together each month. And it's just been a really cool process.
And like you said, you guys have a team over at Drag Illustrated. I know a lot of you guys, and I've worked with a lot of you guys at many different events, but you guys find a way, even if someone is not there. Like, there's been a couple of races that I know I've missed, but if when you go online and you read the articles or you see the media post, there is a team there that is putting together, like I said, just painting that simple picture of, even though you missed this is actually how it happened.
Yeah, that was one of our missions when we started doing these races, starting with the World Series of Pro Mod. Was we have this huge platform to promote racing and talk about the people involved and the results and all that. And we wanted to use our races to really showcase what we could do in covering races. So, it started with Josh and I posting results each night, posting little news stories each day. And then over the course of the last couple of years, it's also included the video production side of things with Blake Fontenelle and a couple of our video guys. And then that's even grown into Kingsridge Media, the Drag Illustrated sister company, who did a lot of the videos that you saw from the World Door Slammer Nationals down in Orlando a couple weeks ago, or a couple months ago at this point. So, we've really just tried to use those events to showcase what we're able to do.
For sure. And then you look back, like you said, and I hate to talk about this in every episode. I always say, I'm not going to bring this up. But when we look back and look at, okay, Orlando was in March, right? We are now in June, and there hasn't been that many races. But we look back at how things kind of took off from Orlando, like everything that was going on, the cheers, the high fives, even though that episode, that just came out in the magazine, but we look back to March, and it's like, where did you see the season going when you left Orlando?
Well, we were all, everyone on the Drag Illustrated team, we really felt like, it was a smash hit. The World Series of Pro Mod, it had been successful for the last couple of years out in Denver, but there were some conditions that were working against us. Mile high conditions aren't conducive for setting record passes, ETs, speeds. And then it's also, Denver is also out of the way for a lot of teams. So with the Orlando race, all that was taken out of consideration. It was right down the road from the Gator Nationals, where all these teams were going. Pro stock teams, that was their third race on the tour. Pro mod teams, that was their first race of the season. So they're all going down that way. The weather was perfect for record setting, which, there were records set in pro stock and pro mod. So it was just a slam dunk. All the teams that were there were happy. The fans that were in attendance had a great time, and the sponsors that were involved felt that it was a great investment, and they wanted to already start talking about next year. Then the racing world kind of came to a screeching halt shortly after that. So it was really a pretty wild turn of events.
And like you said, when you speak of the Orlando race, I know I talked to you a couple of the days, we did a couple of videos, but I have a sound clip of something that you said, and I kind of want to just pick your brain apart about it when you listen back to it here. I want to see kind of what your reaction is now, a few months later, after what you said when we were here in Orlando.
We're expecting really good weather, ideal conditions, and I think we're going to see some new records established. With all the power adders, now we have 4 in play right now: roots blowers, turbos, nitrous, and the centrifugal blowers, pro chargers. And I really think we're going to see new personal bests set across the board.
So listening back to that, talk about all the different cars that were there, all the different power adders and everything like that, saying that there was a possibility of records being set. How does that feel now, looking back a few months?
Well, I definitely wasn't stepping out on a limb making that statement, considering the drivers and the teams and the tuners that were there. We had, world champions several times over in Pro Stock and Pro Mod there. The conditions really were pretty ideal. So it was definitely cool to see so many of those records set. Different power adder combinations, like I said in the video, they did end up setting new records. The top 8 section in the back of the magazine that we use, Brett Kempner compiles that every month. The Pro Mod section of that was basically rewritten after the Orlando race, just because there were so many really incredible runs. So the record performance, that was a component that was kind of missing from the World Series, that newsworthy side of things. So I think that was definitely a big part of what made the World Door Slammer Nationals so exciting.
For sure. And you like you said, you guys rewrote records in the back of the magazine, and that's something definitely too that I think a lot of people like to look at. Some people kind of forget that it's back there unless you follow every episode. And what does that mean to you, knowing like you were a part of making that and rewriting and helping rewrite those records?
Well, it's definitely pretty cool. For me, the most exciting thing was being a part of the team that got to really promote those records and those accomplishments that the teams had down in Orlando, whether that was putting out the press release that night, talking about the records, or over the several weeks after the race, kind of reliving that experience when we were putting together the World Door Slammer Nationals issue for the magazine. So just looking over those results again weeks after they happened, that was pretty cool.
Mad Bro Motorsports, located North Hill, Minot, North Dakota, the leading performance and parts store. If there's anything you need for your hot rod, give Slam and Sam and the gang a call. 701-720-7996. Again, that is Mad Bro Motorsport. 701-720-7996.
On the way to being free.
So records were set, everything goes on, and I think it was day 1 when I got there. I looked at you and I said, Nate, today I am going to get you to do an interview. And you looked at me and said, well, I really don't like doing those, but I need to get better at doing them. So, all right, I'll do it. So how does that feel for you? You're used to writing and expressing, kind of behind the scenes, but then now stepping out and doing different interviews and doing that. Is that totally different from you, or different for you, I should say?
Yeah, it's definitely been something that I've really worked on over the last few years. I always said that there's a reason that I write the words, not speak the words. A lot of times, my skill is taking something that someone else says and putting it down on paper for people to read, a month later or years later, I guess at that point. But couple of years ago when I started going to more races for Drag Illustrated, and people started coming to me to, kind of be the voice or the face of different things that we did at the magazine. I realized that I needed to work on public speaking skills. So that was one of the classes that I took in college, and through the practice in class like that, or doing various different interviews like this, I really tried to just work on that skill and try to become a better public speaker, because there are interviews like this that will pop up, and I want to make sure that I represent Drag Illustrated well, and speak well about everything that we're doing.
And you say you have to make sure you can speak well, but it's like and like I said, and I'm going to continue to say it, and it's on the picture too of this episode, but you can paint a picture with your words. And like for me, I kind of, relate to Wes. I could talk to anybody about anything, and if it's about racing, well, I can talk to you for an hour about it. But I kind of find that weird that you say, doing the interviews is totally different, because when you're sitting there, rewriting exactly what those racers are saying, or what the sponsor said or anyone has told you, I personally would never think that, right? Just because it's like when you sit there and read it, it's like, man, like he said it word for word and then said it better than I even said it.
Yeah, that's one thing that I've always focused on, was making sure that I'm saying exactly what the person said. There are certain instances where, you're cleaning it up, you're taking out the ums and uhs that I like to add into everything that I say. But for the most part, I really try to let the racers speak for themselves. And, I think that really helps tell the picture, or, tell the story, paint the picture, I guess you could say. One of the funny things that I read on a racer's post, they posted one of the stories that I wrote about them, and it was like their grandmother or something saying like, "Oh, I could really see you saying that," or "It's just like you said it." So, really trying to use what the racers say and try to capture their personality over the written word.
And does it help? Like for me, I know if I'm trying to create that picture when I'm doing my video stuff or anything like that, does it help you, I guess, per se, have that picture of, okay, this is a picture we're going to use, for the article, or these are the pictures we're thinking about? Or do you go back and kind of look at race footage, or is it just completely listening to it over and over and over of what they said or what you've written down, just to kind of portray exactly the emotion and everything that was felt at that time?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of that. For a cover story, that is usually written over the course of a couple different interviews. So, like for example, during the Orlando race, I talked to Alex Laughlin after he qualified in the top 3 going into eliminations. I talked to him Sunday after he won the race, and then we also talked to him a couple weeks after the race, after racing had kind of come to a close. So really try to get different perspectives, different timelines, and kind of give time for all those emotions to kind of develop, because what he had to say about that race win 45 minutes after pulling the chutes in the final round, what he's going to say there is a lot different than a week or two later, after he's had time to really think about what just happened.
Yeah, and for sure, and I know, and you've mentioned it, being there and talking to these racers, and for you, when and we don't want to give away all your secrets, right? All your tricks to the trade here, but when you're talking to these racers and you're there, like there's a different atmosphere. I know if you're at a at one of the events that you guys are putting on versus an event that, you're going to just to, watch and to get the information. Do you think that there's a difference, or is it kind of all the same? Like, you're there, you're doing what you love to do?
Yeah, I think there is a difference. One of the biggest things is, when we go up to a racer we're wearing the Drag Illustrated gear at a Drag Illustrated event. They're seeing us not only as the people who are reporting about the event, but also as the people who are putting on the event. So, they're definitely always very gracious, and a lot of times, as they're thanking their sponsors, they'll also thank us, and it's just kind of a very different feel and different experience to be kind of noted like that. But it's also always cool to go to other events and still, people understand what we do at Drag Illustrated. They know that we're trying to paint them in the best possible light, so they're always very accommodating and very easy to work with for the most part.
Yeah, and then I know, the couple events that I've been to that Drag Illustrated is putting on. Speaking of the World Door Slammers in Orlando, great event. Having an alligator, a baby alligator in the winner's circle, the fake money throwing. I mean, the pictures that were sent out, but then the actual cover of that magazine coming out not too long ago, in kind of a cartoon fashion, but really, and then you open it up and you're starting to read everything that's in there. And for me, like I said, it brought me back to that day, and I even get goosebumps thinking about that day where, we're out at the track all day. Some people don't understand that, that you're out at the track at 9:00 in the morning and you're not going home till midnight, 1, 2. But then, the media, we have an obligation, right? It's kind of our it's not kind of, it's our job to replay the day that just happened. So, people are like, oh yeah, you just go out there and do this, but you're up till 3, 4 in the morning and you have a 7, 8 o'clock wake up call, and you're like, man, did I really tell that story? Because I know I was tired and I could have been a little bit crabby, but just thinking about that, and we're gonna definitely talk more about that event, because I mean, like I said, I get goosebumps thinking about that. LS Teca Mexican food, located here in Minot, North Dakota on the north side. If you want the best and authentic Mexican food located in Minot, North Dakota, please check out the gang up at LS Teca Mexican food, located right near the Minot International Airport. Go up there, try one of the burritos, and I guarantee you will not leave hungry. The best and authentic Mexican food here in Minot, North Dakota. Again, that is LS Teca for all your dine-in and dine-out needs. So then we bring it back to, like I said, where I met you was in Colorado on the beautiful hillside of the Red Rock at the World Series of Pro Mod. That race, I mean, you pull in off of the highway in Colorado. There was talk about rain, there was talk about sunshine, there was wind, there was this, there was that. So like you said, Colorado is kind of that different, unique feel of everything. But what does that race kind of mean to you, versus the race that was in Orlando?
Yeah, it's the World Series of Pro Mod. It definitely became my favorite race of the year. It was our first foray into race promotion. When it was announced in January of 2017 that we were going to do a $100,000 to win winner take all Pro Mod shootout in Denver, Colorado, I was like, "We're doing what now?" And that was kind of everyone else's reaction. Those are a lot of nothing like that had been done before. And a lot of people questioned why, why Denver, why this, why that. And as soon as we got out there, it became very obvious why we were holding it at Bandimere Speedway. Not only is it a beautiful location, but the whole team there at Bandimere Speedway, they're just really awesome to work with. They know what they are doing because they've been doing it for decades, and it's not just a job for them; it's their passion, and that's kind of the way we operate too. So that combination, working with that team in that location, it just made it a really fun race. Even though a lot of times we were faced with new situations, new challenges, different situations that come with putting on a race, it still made it a lot of fun. We were all able to kind of relax and hang out in the area after the race, and it really became kind of a destination event for not just the racers that went out there to race, but also for the whole Drag Illustrated team.
And yeah, when you guys go out to those races, like I said, I mean, it's not just it's not 100% business. And I know that's one thing attest to Wes. He's all about, hey, yes, we have a job to do, but when we get our job done, like, we're still people. And that leads me to my next question is, what is it like having, I look up to Wes like a big brother. When I see him, he's always 100% in a good mood. If it has to do with racing, it's what he loves to do. Even if, there may be a million things going on with Wes. I mean, there always is a million things going on. But, perfect example is when we're leaving PRI. I messaged you like, hey, do you know about this race in Orlando? And he's like, no, I kind of just found out about it. So I'll get you, the information when I get it. But what is it like having, a person, and I know I asked you this before with, having him mentor you through the writing and the different things that he wants you to do. But what is it like to have Wes just there and his energy? Do you guys feed off that as a team, or how does that work?
Yeah, I definitely think we do kind of feed off of that energy. A lot of times Wes will come up with these ideas, and some of the other members on our team will be like, "Wow, that's like how are we going to pull that off?" But somehow, some way, we all come together, and we always make it happen, and it usually turns out better than we all expected. So, with some of his goals and ideas that he's put out over the last couple of years, he's really led the charge for us, growing from just being a magazine that is put out, once a month, 12 times a year, to a full-blown media outlet that's covering drag racing all over the country, all over the world, various different series, and then also putting on different events, always trying to be on the leading edge of the different outlets that you can have, social media and doing the video interviews, and now these fully produced videos that they're doing through Kingsbridge Media. So, Wes's vision and tactics have always they've really helped us continue to grow.
And one thing about Wes for sure is that it may be his idea or a group of guys' ideas, but Wes is always the person, from what I can see, and you can speak more of Wes, but he's always the person that will give everyone else the praise and the glory for it, because like you said, it speaks through when everything is out in the media, because there's just so much that goes to it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they're everything that we do is very much a team project, and Wes definitely makes sure that the appropriate people get the credit for for what they contribute to it. And as our various projects have grown over the years, so has the team that it's taken to put on those projects and races and issues and things like that. So that's just continued to grow.
Yeah, and right here, I don't know if you've heard this one or what you were doing when we were down in Orlando, but I definitely want you to listen to this. And this kind of, like I said, just speaks of the kind of person that Wes is and how he praises his team.
These guys can build a spaceship in 80 days.
And like you said there, it seemed kind of mumbled, but he said that his team can build a spaceship in 80 days. And to me, it was cool to see because we were all there in Orlando, and and it just kind of flowed. Everything flowed. Even though it was crazy, no one knew kind of what to expect, what to happen. It was a different, setup from having pro stock and pro mod and all the different things that happen down there. But when it all comes together, it's like, hey, we really just pulled that off, and we really just did that. And it just seems like the Drag Illustrated team kind of just comes in, and you guys are like, hey, this is what I need to do. This is what this person needs to do. Hey, we're not going to worry about JT. He'll be there. He'll be okay. And everybody will just come together and put this production on.
Yeah. They're, even though we had, like you said, about 80 days from the time we announced that race until pulling through the gates at Orlando Speed World, there's endless hours of preparation that went into that. But at the same time, that was a brand new event, brand new partners down there at Orlando. And, there were certain instances where we were definitely kind of putting the plane together as we were taking off. But like you said, it all ended up coming together. Everyone on the team, we have a clear vision of what needs to happen and how things need to be to kind of be at the level that we expect from Drag Illustrated Productions. So, it was definitely really cool to see it all come together as well as it did.
For sure. And then, so what is it like for you? Like 2019 going into 2020 has been kind of a roller coaster year, right? You take the position as an editor-in-chief, you're moving up there, you graduate in college, you recently moved, so just so much going on. The travel aspect, does it kind of wear down on you? Is it something where it's like, man, I got to travel again. Man, I'm leaving. Man, I'll be home this week, maybe not this week. So what is that like? But is that going to change now that racing kind of stopped? Or are you going to be like, yep, all right, got to get on another flight, like no complaints here?
Yeah, I was definitely ready to get back to traveling a couple weeks ago when I left for the PDRA season opener at Galat. For as much as everyone complains about the traveling, the airports, the crappy rental cars, the road trips and all that, and I've definitely done my fair share of complaining about that. But I love going to the airport. I love getting on a plane to go to a race somewhere. I love the late night drives to or from races. So I was ready to get back, and now that all the series kind of have laid out their revised schedules, now I can kind of figure out what my year will look like, and it's looking really exciting, especially now that I recently moved to the Indy area. Now they're going to have 2 national events in Indy. NHRA will have 2 national events in Indy in addition to the U.S. Nationals. So, that's exciting. And then several PDRA races on the schedule. So definitely looking forward to all that.
So I don't really mean to talk about this, but I got to ask now, because it's been kind of the topic around the media world. How do you feel about the revised schedule? What are your opinions? I mean, like you said, you're happy that there's a kind of a lot more in the Indy area, but what do you think about that? Because I know most teams, when you look at the swing, after the swing, they're like, man, I can't wait to get home. I'm done. I'm tired. How do you think that's going to affect media and racing? What are your kind of opinions on that?
It's tough to say. The new schedule with as many back-to-back races as they're going to have, that's going to be a big challenge for a lot of the teams, even the teams that are the touring pros who go to all 24 races a year. It's going to be tough for them to do that many races back to back. But at the same time, it's what I believe NHRA felt they needed to do to have a season. And, I think having a ton of races back to back, I think that's better than not having a season at all, or, having one that kind of puts the series and everyone involved in it in a bad position going into 2021.
What's up, everybody? I'm going to tell you the easiest way to start your podcast right now. It's called Anchor. Go over, download the Anchor app, get on their site, and start your podcast today. You don't have to have any listenership already. You can start from scratch. It's going to distribute all of your podcasts to the major platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. It has a creative tool. You can edit from your computer or your phone if you're on the go. It's just really the easiest way to start your podcast. So if you haven't done it already, go over and download the Anchor app and get started on your podcast today. All right, so now, Nate, this section here of the podcast is kind of like a rapid fire, question round. We're just going to kind of see how you feel about certain things or kind of what your opinion is on them. So are you ready for that?
Yeah, I like it. I'm ready.
All right. So first question I have for you, Nate, is who or what racer or event holder is the person that can still make you starstruck?
That's a tough one. I don't know if I would say starstruck. Well, maybe I would. But since the beginning, my the driver that I kind of, idolize, I guess, biggest fan of was Clay Millican. And anytime I get to see Clay, it's always really exciting. And like, for example, down in Orlando in March, I walk into our little racers party on Friday night, and there's Clay Millican. And it was a really cool surprise. And, that was pretty cool.
All right. So that's the first one. Clay Millican, I actually got to speak with him, and he is like, what you see on TV is the same Clay Millican that you get, at the track. He is a normal guy, just kind of, he's himself. He loves to be there. He loves to be at the track. So, I mean, I think that was awesome, getting to talk with him and just, shooting the breeze with a guy like him. So second question is favorite racetrack / race.
Definitely Summit Motorsports Park in Norwalk. That's where I grew up and really fell in love with drag racing, and that's definitely my go-to favorite track.
All right, favorite race.
I would have to say the World Series of Pro Mod.
All right. Do you like handing out the check at the end? I mean, do you like being there for what is it honestly about that race that you like the most? Is it the atmosphere? Is it the place? I mean, what is it?
It's hard to pinpoint one specific thing. It's the atmosphere is really cool. It's a one of a kind location. There are so many racetracks that are like just in the middle of a cornfield. in the middle of nowhere, and to have that track just on the side of a mountain in Denver, it's just very picturesque, and really adds to the atmosphere and the energy.
All right. Question number 3: Pro stock or pro mod?
I'm gonna have to say pro mod.
Why?
I like all the different power adder combinations. I feel like the teams have a little more flexibility and freedom to kind of experiment and innovate, whereas pro stock, not that they don't innovate and improve year to year, but you definitely see some big changes, and that's where you see a lot of new development in pro mod.
All right. This question it's kind of a sideways question. Is Nate gonna get back into the reverse race again?
Yeah, I mean, I've been testing ever since the 2019 World Series of Pro Mod. Um, that race will look a little different this year. It's now being called DI Main Event, and obviously with all the schedule changes, that it will no longer be in the early part of August. It'll be moved back to September. But as far as I know, the plan is still to include reverse racing in that. I've been pitching a $10,000 to win reverse race to Sporty and John Miller up at Bandamere, but I don't know what kind of progress we've made on that just yet.
All right. I think that's going to be something good. I might throw a couple $100 if somebody wants to bet. No, I got to stay away from JT if we do that, though. But is there going to be any first round call outs? Is there anybody that, you want revenge against or anything? I mean, right here, in the Groove Podcast, you can make your first call out if there's anyone that you want to call out to race.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to call out Zach Sackman. He back-to-back reverse race winner in the Novak family's Black Bullet Mini Cooper. That thing is just an absolute terror on four wheels in reverse, and that's who I want to take out if I get the chance.
All right, so let's see if we can make this happen. This will be saved in the archives. Anybody that's listening, first round call out. Nate's already put that. Any wager on that? Are we going $50? You and him first race, or what is that?
I don't know. I'd probably even throw 100 on it.
Ooh, stepping up. I like this. I might have to get him on here and have a little debate about that. All right.
Yeah. On that note, if anyone in the Denver area has a Mini Cooper that I could borrow the third weekend in September, let me know.
Yeah, just make sure you get, I don't know, some of these cars nowadays have like the reverse lock. You can't go too fast. So he probably found out a way to take that out. So there you go, guys. First round call out. Nate wants to challenge the defending two-time champ of the reverse race there and Bandamere. So I think that's going to have to be the first race. So I'm going to have to send this clip to Wes and let him know that is the first race off the trailer. Nate wants to take on the champ. So I've got $40 on Nate right there. So you guys are hearing it here. I got $40 on Nate taking out the champ. All right. One more question here for you is what is the best feeling, or when did you have the best feeling of releasing an article and you look back and we're like, hell yeah, like I did that. Like which article did you do, or what was the one that you wrote and you're like, hell yeah, like that's the one?
That's tough. There have been a few that I look back on pretty favorably. Obviously one being a Q&A that I did with Clay Milliken a couple years back. That was a cover story. That was just a really cool experience, kind of a full circle moment. And then the State of Drag issue that we did, I believe it was maybe 2015, 2016. I did a roundtable interview with Leah Pritchett, Ron Capps, Alan Johnson, Jason Scruggs. I think there may have been one more person that I interviewed, just talking about the state of the sport. And it was anywhere from track prep to safety requirements to the street outlaws to just the advancement of the sport in general. And that was a really cool story to work on. Those were some pretty big hitters, and they had a lot of interesting things to say.
Yeah, that and that's what it takes, right? Is that one or two moments where you're like, hell yeah, I did that. Like that's the one. And that and like I said, even for me, you know, growing in this sport and looking up to guys like yourself and Wes and 1320 video and you know, Courtney with Kings Ridge and Blake and all the things that you guys are doing, it's awesome to finally, you know, look back and be like, you know what, I know that guy. Like, I can call him and talk to him and ask him questions, and I know I've messaged you a lot of, you know, different questions throughout the years that we've talked. But what can you tell to a young media person, someone like myself, someone that may be listening and thinking, you know, I really love this, but I'm too scared to put myself out there, or I want to write something for, you know, Drag Illustrated to look at? What can you tell those people that are out there that are kind of on that verge or kind of on that cliff, but don't know how to take that next step?
I think some of the best advice that I ever received, and the advice that I would pass on to someone else trying to kind of get into the racing thing, is just be at the track. Like, when you're actually at the track, you're putting yourself out there. You're making connections with the people who might someday be hiring you or you know, working with you in some capacity. And it's just really important to be at the events, make yourself known, and you know, just look for opportunities wherever they might be. They're not always the obvious choice, but they're out there.
For sure, and like I said, you know, we've talked, you know, a number of times, and I've messaged you on Instagram or via email, or something like that, you know, just asking questions, or hey, you know, what events should I be at? What more should I do? And I personally want to thank you for always being, you know, that open door for me and accepting me, you know, at Bandamere the first time we shook hands. You know, since then you know, it's a friendship, and it's something that a lot of people think, oh, well, you work for Drag Illustrated, I want to work for Drag Illustrated, or I work for this company, or this guy's out there. They think that we're all competing, but at the end, we all want to give our piece to the puzzle, just to tell that story, because we're there to tell the stories for the racers. We're there to connect people to the racers and, you know, just give them that atmosphere of what you continue to do, which is, again, paint that picture for the people that are not there.
Yeah, that's right. We're all there for the same reason. We all have the same goals, and the more we can kind of work together and help each other, and you know, push out that content and help the racers and the sponsors and all the different people involved get the recognition they deserve. That's definitely what we're there for.
Yeah. So I don't want to take up too much of your time, but is there anyone that, you know, like that you would like to give a shout out to, like to thank for helping you along your journey and getting you to where you are today?
Yeah, definitely have to thank my parents. You know, even though I didn't have any family involvement in the sport, they were always very supportive of my crazy ideas, and you know, whether it's driving me to races or setting up my first website or whatever it was, they always kind of helped me take the next steps. And then I've had various different mentors like Brandon Boer, Doug Foley, and the Foley family. They've also been a big part of my involvement in racing. And then obviously Wes Wes and the whole Drag Illustrated team. They really took me in basically when I was 18 or 19, and they've been a big part of where I am today.
So what is next? What's your next couple events to go to on your schedule as it all kind of picks back up?
Yeah, so this weekend I'm heading down to Darlington Dragway for the PDRA Carolina Showdown. That'll be the second race on the PDRA Tour. And then a couple weekends off. And then the first of the 2 additional Indy races for the NHRA, I'll go out to Lucas Oil Raceway for that. And then, unfortunately, there's a PDRA race on top of the second Indy race that's out in Maryland. So I'll be in Maryland for that. And then I believe after that it should be the U.S. Nationals.
All right, so there you guys have it. This is Nate, the editor-in-chief, the guy that can paint a picture. I'm going to start calling you the word artiste. That's what I'm going to put you in my... Nate, the word artiste is what you're going to be on my phone as. But thanks again for your time, Nate. Hope to see you at a racetrack sooner than later. I stole that from Mark Caruso, but I hope to see you very, very soon at a racetrack so we can hang out and do another interview.
Yeah, likewise, Sam. I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully we'll see you out in Denver in a few months.
Oh, I am already, like I said, I already need the information so I can book my plane ticket. I can book my hotel room. I already know where I want to stay, same spot, same rental car, same everything, right? But, yeah, we will definitely be talking with you soon, Nate. Thanks again for your time.
Yeah, thank you, Sam.
All right, have a good one.
You too.
And there you guys have it, Nate, the editor-in-chief, Drag Illustrated magazine. Super awesome to talk with him. Like I said, and I'm going to continue to say it, if you ever open a magazine, the Drag Illustrated magazine, if you ever open it and read it, or you read it online, wherever you're reading it, Nate is the person that continues to paint those pictures. I mean, the words, everything goes along with those pictures that are in there. And so that's what it takes. It takes someone like him to tell those stories. It takes that kind of information to draw you in closer to what's going on at these tracks and what's going on in the facilities and in the heads of all these racers. And, you know, it continues. I mean, as you can see, like the schedule is kind of picking up. Things are starting to happen. So, you know, we never know where you're going to see someone. But if you see Nate, tell him, hey, tell him thank you, you know, for the things that he's done for us and telling these stories and being there for us, you know, when we're not there. Because that's the person that is going to continue to bring you that great content. This has been another episode of In the Groove Podcast, brought to you by Mabro Motorsports, LS Tech and Mexican Food, and the good folks over at Outlaw Performance ENT. If you haven't done already, please go over and check out all of our social medias. Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube, all under outlawperformance.ent. Till next time, you guys keep smashing that loud pedal.